Sin is a tendency to turn away from God and ultimately inward. This is actually how St. Augustine defined sin. He said sin is a turning in on yourself. It's a turning in on oneself, and instead of turning towards the one who made us. Instead of turning towards God and turning out of ourselves, sin is turning in on yourself. It's self-focused. And the modern world has championed this. I mean, just like we couldn't be more, it's like we took Augustine's definition of sin and we're like, let's make that our motto. Turn in on yourself. Like that's what we celebrate. Focus on yourself. Be yourself. Know yourself. Self. Find yourself. Love yourself. We live in this therapeutic and psychological age, which is our religion. Obsessed with how we feel and who we really are. And it creates an unbearable weight. You are the answer, we're constantly being told. You are the captain of your faith. It's all the captain of your fate. It's all up to you. Which is just another way of saying, you are a God. And yet you know that you're no good at being a God. You fail, you forget, you sin, and if we're really honest, you're not that interesting. We're not. Like all by yourself on a desert island, you would be boring. I mean, it would be exciting for 15 minutes, and then you'd run out of stuff. We are not that interesting. Now, we've been put in a world in which we reflect the glory of our Maker. That's interesting. We live in a world that God made that's beautiful and mind-blowing, and our interaction with that mind-blowing world, that's interesting. And He put us and surrounded us with millions, billions of other image bearers, and when we interact, that's interesting. But you, all by yourself, suck. All by yourself. Right? Not that interesting. Not a good God. God in Himself, all by Himself, is all glory forever and ever. He is never bored. He's never uninteresting. I mean, that's the mind-blowing thing. He wasn't bored, and He said, let's do some more. And He made us. He didn't need to. Absolute grace. He wasn't lonely. That's God. God, always interesting, always perfect, always holy, the integration point of everything, not missing anything. That's the only one worthy of the title God. Self-care has become one of the mantras of this self-centered religion, and carefulness about everything. Carefulness about everything. Self-care. Care about this. Care about that. Don't forget that. And it creates anxiety, worry, and fearfulness everywhere. The opposite of careful, weighed down with cares about everything. You say, what, you want me to be careless? No, I want you to be carefree. I want you to be carefree. I want you to walk in peace and joy. And you cannot get peace and joy by focusing on you having peace and joy. This is what people do. I want to have peace and joy. All right, imagine yourself having peace and joy. I can't. I don't have peace and joy. Just think about it really. I can't. I don't have peace and joy. Right. That's because peace and joy are byproducts. If you try to focus on having peace and joy, you will lose them. Peace and joy are byproducts. You cannot get peace and joy by focusing on peace and joy or imagining yourself with peace and joy. They'll slip out of your hands. Peace and joy are byproducts. They're byproducts of worshiping the God who holds all things together. It's by you recognizing that you did not make yourself and you did not make this world, and somebody did, and He is brilliant, He is mind-blowing. He is glorious. And he's worthy of praise. That's where peace and joy comes from. It's not bending in on yourself. It's actually looking outside of yourself and saying, how did this get here? This is not an accident. This is too beautiful, it's too orderly, and there's too much goodness. Despite all the badness, despite all the evil, there's still too much goodness. Where did it come from? It came from God. And peace and joy come in the midst of those who say, thank you.